January 2026 did not begin with a dramatic announcement from Jimin. There was no sudden teaser, no confirmed solo release, no detailed roadmap laid out by his agency. And yet, as the new year opened, one reality became increasingly clear across global media and fan communities. Jimin was everywhere, without actively being present. His name trended repeatedly across platforms. His music continued to circulate through global playlists. Discussions about BTS's future almost always returned to him. In an industry defined by constant output, Jimin's silence did not signal absence. Instead, it created anticipation. January 2026 has become a defining moment, not because of what Jimin has released, but because of what the world believes may come next. In the fast-moving world of global pop culture, momentum is often measured by visibility. Artists are expected to release, promote, appear, and announce. Yet, Jimin's position in January 2026 challenges that assumption entirely. Despite a lack of new official activity, his presence remained undeniable. Streaming numbers stayed consistent, media references did not slow, fan discussions intensified rather than faded. This phenomenon has drawn attention from industry observers who note that few artists maintain relevance during periods of silence. Jimin, however, appears to exist beyond traditional promotional cycles. January 2026 has become proof that anticipation itself can be a form of influence. To understand why January 2026 feels so significant, it is necessary to examine what Jimin represents at this stage of his career. Jimin entered the industry as a performer defined by emotion, precision, and vulnerability. Over time, he developed a solo identity that resonated deeply with global audiences. His work demonstrated not only technical excellence, but emotional depth, an ability to communicate feeling without excess. By the time 2026 arrived, Jimin was no longer viewed simply as a member of BTS with a strong individual presence. He was recognized as an artist whose next step mattered. This legacy transformed January 2026 into a moment of expectation rather than inactivity. Across fan communities, January 2026 is often described using words like transition, build-up, and calm before movement. Rather than expressing impatience, fans have largely responded with attentiveness. Many interpret this period as preparation, both emotionally and artistically. The belief is not that Jimin is absent, but that he is choosing timing carefully. This perspective reflects a mature fan base that understands pacing in long-term careers. For them, January 2026 is not empty, it is intentional. International media coverage in early 2026 has framed Jimin not through speculation, but through positioning. Articles reference him as a central figure in BTS's evolving future. Commentators highlight his emotional impact on group dynamics. Analysts point to his sustained relevance despite minimal activity. The dominant narrative is consistent. Whatever Jimin does next, solo or group-based, will matter. This framing reinforces the idea that January 2026 is less about closure and more about anticipation. Beyond industry metrics lies something less quantifiable, but equally powerful: emotional connection. For many fans, Jimin's artistry has always been tied to emotional honesty. His performances are remembered not for spectacle alone, but for sincerity. This connection has created a level of trust that extends into moments of silence. January 2026, therefore, is not interpreted as distance, it is interpreted as patience, shared between artist and audience. Fans are not demanding answers, they are waiting. From an industry perspective, January 2026 represents a rare moment of strategic stillness. Music analysts often emphasize that silence, when used intentionally, can be as powerful as constant visibility. In Jimin's case, this principle appears to be unfolding in real time. Industry observers note that Jimin has already proven his commercial viability, artistic credibility, and global reach. As a result, he does not face the same pressure to maintain relevance through constant output. Instead, every period of quiet becomes a moment of recalibration. January 2026, therefore, is not seen as inactivity, but as positioning. It allows space for expectations to grow organically rather than being driven by aggressive promotion. As discussions around BTS's next phase continue, Jimin remains a central figure in those conversations. His role within BTS has long been defined by emotional resonance, both vocally and visually. In the context of a group comeback, analysts believe Jimin's presence will be crucial in shaping the emotional tone of BTS's next chapter. January 2026 serves as a bridge between eras, the group's past achievements, their period of individual exploration, and the collective future that lies ahead. Jimin stands at that intersection, embodying continuity and evolution simultaneously.
One of the most striking aspects of January 2026 is the absence of fan pressure. Rather than demanding announcements, fans appear deeply engaged in reflection. Online discussions focus on appreciation, past performances, and emotional milestones rather than countdowns or expectations. This behavior reflects a unique psychological contract between Jimin and his audience, one built on trust. Fans believe that when Jimin chooses to return with new work, it will be meaningful, deliberate, and emotionally grounded. Waiting in this context becomes an act of loyalty rather than impatience. Even without new releases, data tells a compelling story. Jimin's existing catalog continues to perform steadily across platforms. His songs remain present in global playlists, and listener engagement shows minimal decline. This stability reinforces the idea that his relevance is not tied to novelty alone. January 2026 provides statistical evidence of longevity, a quality increasingly rare in a fast-moving industry. Jimin's music does not spike and disappear, it endures. Within the broader K-pop landscape, Jimin occupies a distinct position. He is often cited as an artist who bridges performance excellence with emotional authenticity. This reputation has positioned him as a reference point, not only for fans, but for younger artists and industry professionals. In January 2026, this reputation continues to grow, even in silence. It suggests that Jimin's influence extends beyond releases and promotions into the realm of artistic identity. Unlike many periods of heightened anticipation, January 2026 has been marked by relatively responsible media coverage. Rather than fueling rumors, most outlets frame Jimin's situation through context and history. This restraint mirrors the tone set by Jimin himself, measured, deliberate, and grounded. The absence of sensationalism allows anticipation to remain respectful, reinforcing trust between artist, media, and audience. Jimin's significance extends beyond music charts. For many fans, he represents vulnerability expressed through strength. His artistry has often explored themes of self-reflection, longing, and emotional honesty, qualities that resonate deeply across cultures. January 2026 highlights how these themes continue to connect with listeners, even without new material. His presence is cultural as much as musical. Many fans describe January 2026 as a threshold moment. It is not the beginning of something new, nor the end of something old. Instead, it is the space between, where anticipation settles and intention forms. This perception elevates the month into a symbolic pause, one that feels purposeful rather than empty. Jimin's career trajectory suggests that his value does not lie solely in productivity. His identity as an artist has been shaped by consistency, emotional clarity, and restraint.
These qualities allow him to step back without disappearing, a rare balance in contemporary pop culture. January 2026 reinforces this identity, positioning him as an artist whose presence is felt even in absence. Another defining aspect of this period is how fans position themselves. Rather than acting as consumers awaiting content, they act as witnesses, observing, reflecting, and supporting without demands. This shift reflects a mature relationship between artist and audience. Jimin's career has cultivated this dynamic over time, and January 2026 serves as its clearest example. In many high-profile careers, anticipation often breeds anxiety. For Jimin, January 2026 tells a different story. The anticipation surrounding him feels calm, confident, and patient. This tone suggests that both fans and observers trust his judgment and timing. It is anticipation rooted in belief, not fear of absence. Looking back at Jimin's past transitions, one pattern becomes clear. He moves deliberately. Each phase of his career has been marked by preparation rather than impulsivity. This historical consistency shapes expectations for whatever comes next. January 2026 fits neatly into this pattern, a preparatory phase rather than a conclusion. In a digital age defined by constant noise, choosing silence can be an act of power. Jimin's quiet presence in January 2026 demonstrates control over narrative and timing. He is not reacting to trends, he is allowing space for intention to form. This choice amplifies impact rather than diminishing it. As January progresses, the sense of buildup becomes more pronounced. Nothing has been announced, nothing has been denied, yet momentum quietly gathers. Fans, media, and industry watchers share a collective awareness. This is not an ending, it is the moment before movement. January 2026 will likely not be remembered for a single announcement or release. Instead, it will be remembered as a chapter defined by restraint, anticipation, and trust. A period when Jimin's influence was felt without spectacle, and his relevance reaffirmed without declaration. When the next chapter finally begins, whatever form it takes, January 2026 will stand as the calm foundation beneath it. For Jimin, silence has not meant absence. It has meant presence without pressure. And sometimes that is the strongest statement an artist can make.